This week, the angels are telling us that the dialogue needs to shift from within. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. And for those of you who are new, my name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel. I mean by that, I go into a deep meditative state or trance, and from there I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. I go a little higher, I connect at the angelic realm, and then messages and information and healing comes through, and I share it here with you guys on YouTube. So, and this week's message from the angels, they have been for a while now sharing with us more and more layers, more depth, more understanding about this great shift in consciousness that we are going through. And currently, they are talking a lot about how we are changing and what we are meant to hold and embody, how we can change now to be more ready, to be more open, and to start experiencing some of the benefits of this shift in consciousness right away. So it's a beautiful message, poetic as usual. I think this one is a little easier to understand. In the recording, I'm sharing with you guys the actual channeling that I did. So it's just the audio, and then after that, we will break it down and go through paragraph by paragraph. And you'll hear sometimes when I channel that in the beginning, the words are a little bit more. There's space between them. It's not as flowy, and then as it gets later, it's like I could just go deeper and deeper into the trance. It gets more flowy as it goes. That's just how it works. So, but then in the breakdown, hopefully you can get all of the meaning, because often they speak in layers. You know, angels see things. They don't see things in one layer like we do. We see one thing at a time in a very linear fashion, and they tend to see everything all at once. So they often will choose words that have multiple layers and meanings, and so it helps to unpack it and to spend time with the message. There's a lot here for us, and they are sharing with us this idea that that we are meant to be navigating our lives differently, that we are meant to start living not in a karmic way, but in a dharmic way. And they're telling us how to do it. They're trying as much as they can to give us a step-by-step of this is how to do it. So yeah, great message. So, and I wanted to offer you guys, if you would like to receive a healing from the angels, I'm offering a free healing on my website. When you sign up for your email, if you put in your email address, I will send you a beautiful healing with the angels. And I don't tend to send a lot of emails, just so you know. I'm just not that into it. I send some emails. I typically send one a month that has an update of all of the past videos from the month. So it just gives you a quick catch up of all. I call it the update email. I usually send that once a month. And then sometimes I send, maybe once or maybe twice a month, I'll send messages about what's coming up, new announcements, things like that. But very light emailing. I offer a second mailing list, which I call the Angel Inspiration List, where I send quotes, really beautiful quotes from what happened, what the angels said that week. So if you would like to be part of that, that is a separate sign up. That way you don't get more emails than you want. But the reason I want to do this is because right now we connect over YouTube, and I just would like to have a backup. Like, what if something happens with YouTube? What if something happens with my channel? This way we can still stay in touch. So that's the main reason I'm asking for you to sign up, and in return, I would love to send you a beautiful healing with the angels. So I will put the link here below in the dialog box. All right, have a great rest of your weekend, you guys, and I hope you enjoy the message.
We capture the rays of the new beginning like sunlight that dazzles you all, that comes into being and announces itself. A new horizon, a new unsettling, renouncing the past undertakings, unsettling your seats of complacency, and bringing you to the brink of incorporation, back to a known name, to a known center, to a collaborative core of your soul and self. It is an undertaking that you have begun. The time frame is opened. The sensation that you are on the rise is taking hold within you, and you seek to know more. about how and when it will pass in these days to come. You seek to know more about where it will form and how it will be known and how your own experience will change. And there is fear yet amongst yourselves. There's fear that dwells in your heart space, in your awareness, in your dialogue within. And we say in understanding that you cannot know all that will foretell the future. You cannot know the callings that will meet you there, for you are the instrument by which it arrives, and you have not yet dictated the terms of its experiencing. You will become the forefront of your own experience. You will dictate into knowing what you shall become. You shall be the creator more than ever before, more than you can currently comprehend. You will feel yourself as one in dialogue with purchase, as though the words of exchange are the currency, and you may take from this world what it offers to yourself. An endowment given in the grace of your birth, as though you may form this world by the very thoughts that arise in your mind, and your heart will feel the interference of no blessings unfound. There will be only the circumstances that surround you in the now. There will only be the circumstances of living in the moment. And you will feel yourself all right, well, taken care of, as though this moment speaks durably into your future as a foundational prospect that carries you forward from now into where and what will become you cannot know, for you are not there yet. You are the instigator, the change maker, the way shower. You are the center of this world that you create. Thus, what shall pass in your own dialogue with experience is highly personal to you. You shall make it be into being. You shall create in this world the experience of your own knowing, of what you are feeling, the context that you herald in. Therefore, there will be times coming within which great change is voluble and apparent all around yourself. However, your own experience of living has not changed much. There will be times coming within which you will feel yourself having risen above the forays of this world, as though you exist within a realm adjacent, as though you feel and are aware of what is contemplated in this earth as well. But your own instantiation of existence dwells slightly adjacent to this, as though your world keeps its own tune and memories, as though you may pass unscathed through the fires of fruition. And you may wonder how is this begotten? How is this created from me? It is from the process of living gently, easily, within the context of wherever you become. It is from the process of releasing the endowment of shame, guilt, and abhorrence that you came with. It is from the process of receiving into yourself the pure heart of one who is known by their truth. It is the substance of your own self, of self-love, self-trust, the endowment of your future comes from this, from the space within yourself by which you navigate and instill from within your own heart the prospect of your divinity. We say you cannot know how far you've come or what you've shared thus far with a world as receptive as this one will become. You cannot know how this world will transform where you are based on what you have known. The foreshadowing does not exist into a future where all things change. No instigation left asunder will begin again in this new time coming. It is all made from the creation point of who you are in that time, in that moment, in that now. A new beginning every second, every moment. You can claim yourself renewed. You are not fragile. You are not unsafe. You are self, you are soul, you are all knowledge, all beingness, and the world conforms to you. When you trust yourself, trust your soul, what you are made of, the very blanket of divinity rests around you and conforms thus to the body you are made in, to the circumstances of life you have chosen. What frames it thus? How does it become so easy? Through the method, the careful dialogue of presence between yourself and what you are holding in your depth. Through the careful dialogue of experience, through the willingness to confront, to delve into what you have been, through the lens of digestion, through the perspective of one who cherishes all they ever have been, all that ever was in your experience. There is the dynamic between yourself and all things of exchange that you have known, and this dialogue has been constrained. It has been a method by which you have experienced life as something external to you, as something difficult, a hardship, a burden to make through, a suffering encampment where you have been laid and must make do until your time here is over. And we say you have seldom been met with a greater prospect than this life you are enduring. You have seldom been met with more opportunity than that which lies at your feet in this moment. The care and the comfort of your life is waiting for you. It is nearby, yes, adjacent to this existence within which all things are felt as suffering. It is adjacent within the knowledge of your soul as present, abounding with the all and the every within it, as though you are this moment in its entirety and can choose for yourself what to extinguish and what to carry forward, as though all that is instigated in this time is by choice and surrender to your own soul. It is a process by which you create, not by the dialogue which you are accustomed to, not through the process of forcing, not through the process of creating by instinct. No, indeed. It is the process of presence into the moment, of drawing down and into you the full flavor of your relationship to divinity, and allowing yourself to settle your feelings within this dialogue of self and all things, to feel you are in presence in experience, in tenderness, relinquishing your desire to manage, to be all that is in opposition to what is now occurring, to feel yourself not in resistance to the now, to feel yourself in flowing endeavor, to experience how you are being revealed in this moment, to be in a dialogue of trusting your experience, to know it comes forward to you so that you may relinquish some aspect of hardship which you have endured far too long. And we say this dialoguing must shift, must transfer into the new age of your own well-being, to become adjacent to the stirrings, the strange and unsettling experiences of living at the hand of the external, as though other governs this world and you are simply in it. Not you, not for you. No, indeed, this is not how the new wave begins. It starts within the heart of what and who you are becoming. The self, the soul, the dialogue in truth speaks to you that you are this world and it moves through you, and you must lie down your torment and your grief and find solace in the concept of yourself as all things, as knowing your truth begins now, in this sphere, in this moment, in this interaction and dialogue. You are here, and your presence announces itself as one who is giddy in the experience of living, as one who finds life not a torment, but a blessing. The dignity of your grace is expressed even in the moments of greatest quiet and reflection, where you find your stillness, you find your hardship, you find your tears and suffering. And in these moments you are brought to terms with what must be accepted and drawn into your heart for the pleasure of commencing a relationship to your truth. The knowingness of your own wounding draws you closer to a life that is freed of the friction that has disturbed your countenance and created hardship for many. Your blessings are within reach. Your days are flowing more easily, and they come to fruition in the time of our speaking to you. They come to term. They come this fast, this easy, as though a breath is made and felt immediately in the circumstances you meet. It is that fleeting, moment by moment. It is extinguished and renewed again and again. You are remade, the new you, never extinguished, always renewing. You are endlessly possible and positive in this world. We say blessings are upon you.
Yeah, right. So I hope that was worth waiting for, you guys. I love the message. I love the message. I hope that was worth. We had a little tech difficulty there, and but I think it was worth hanging around for. And I will get my camera stuff worked out. I am slowly troubleshooting to give us a overall better experience in these communications. So yeah, so the message, oh my gosh, right? It is, I feel like they are telling us with real clarity in this message that basically life is there, life is waiting for us, and we are in a shift. The shift is, it's really important for us to understand that the shift is a two-part process, that it is part the process of there's going to be these energies that are and will hit the planet, like big waves of energies that are coming to us right now. And then there's going to be the giant flash of light, which is, just for clarity, a solar energy that's coming to the planet that will hurt no one, that is meant to raise all of our frequencies, that it's one of several ways, but this big one is coming, and it's meant to give us a giant boost in our frequency. And we don't know exactly when that's coming, but it's coming. They've said that it will come in the middle of the ruckus, in the middle of some of the other events they've talked about. It will come. So we kind of know sequentially when it'll come, but we don't really know specifically when it'll be here. In the middle of the ruckus is the closest that they gave us. So, so the question is, as we're kind of thinking about this, we have half of it is going to be kind of external energies. We're being boosted, we're being lifted, but then there's this other super important part, which is that we have to change our perspective in order to ride those waves up. That we have to start living as if all this stuff is true now. So they're really telling us we need to integrate all the aspects of who we are. Like, we need to integrate our truth, our inner truth. And I love how they talk about it, that through this acceptance of these deep parts of ourselves, we develop a relationship to our truth. Like, whoa, there's so many poetic passages. I was pulling out quotes for Ivy to create quotes for you guys from this week's message. And I was like pink highlighter all over the place because there's so many beautiful bits in here. Like, wow, the way that they are speaking to us, I feel like this message is clearer than some. When we look at it, when we look through it paragraph by paragraph, I feel like it's clearer than some, but it does pack a punch for sure. So, so if you guys want, let's go ahead and break it down. Let's talk it through paragraph by paragraph and talk about what they are talking about. So, so let me get it ready here for you. And I'm calling this one the dialogue must shift, because they say that in one of the paragraphs, and I think it's a powerful phrase. That it's like saying that this is the part we got to do. This is our work. Our work is integrating all aspects of ourself, and integrating means allowing ourselves to see the things that are hard, that we don't want to look at about ourselves, our experience, our memories, and loving ourselves through those experiences and bringing them into our heart space, allowing ourselves to integrate all aspects of who we are, right? And then getting into a space, this is the cool part, right? Where they're starting to talk about how we are going to be living in the moment, creating from the moment, and that it's like our reality. As we do this, as we become capable of living in this way, our reality is like it's adjacent to the reality we're living in now. So we're in the same world, but it's like we're right next to it, right? That we're living a life that is similar but different, where we are in flow, and they say it's like we can move. It's almost like there's this stuff going on in the world, but it's not affecting us, right? Which makes sense, because we are not in resistance, that we are in harmony, we're in flow. So it to me, it really puts into context all of the stories that we've been told through religion and all these different places about what is the rapture, what is this, the dividing of the two earths, all this kind of stuff. They're saying, yeah, it's kind of like that, but not really. It is really more like that we are different, so we experience the world differently. So the way I've been thinking about it is more like the way we think about the elementals, like when we hear stories about the fairies and the little people. And I will tell you, I would have never thought they believe that they exist, but I believe they do. I have reason to believe they do. And their world, so even if believe in them or not, the stories of them, the legends of them, they exist in a world that's overlapping with our world, but they experience the world really, really differently. And so it's like we have the ability to be on this planet and to be experiencing this planet very differently, and almost like having two worlds at once. But I think we're in the same world with everybody else. It's just that it's almost like imagine it's like you're kind of moving towards things, and other people are going to run right into it, and you're just going to move around it. And that's kind of how it seems to be they're describing it. So let's go through and break it down. I think it's really exciting what they're talking about. And I'm trying to do this in our Facebook group, which is called Spirit Means Business. And I'm trying to I don't see your guys' comments. So I'm not sure why I'm not seeing your comments on my phone. Can one of you drop in a comment so I can see all of you here, which is fabulous. And I love that, but I am not seeing the conversation. So I don't know why that is. Oh, maybe I have to push a button over here. Just give me a second here. And yeah, I don't see it. I don't know why. So, just looking. It's just one of those days. I just flow with it. When we have difficult problems, I think of myself as being like somewhat technically apt. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a total, maybe it's here. No, that would make my head turn into a dinosaur. I don't want to do that. Let me turn that off. I'm just not going to touch the buttons. Stay away from the buttons. Okay. So you're saying you can't comment. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for texting me and telling me you guys can't comment. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wonder here. Oh, wait. No, I can now I can comment, but it's not letting you guys comment. Why not? Oh, no option. Bummer. Sorry about that, you guys. Oh, I'd love seeing your guys' comments. So, well, I'll tell you what, if you can comment, if Wendy is on the in the thread, if Wendy's here, if you could start a separate thread, like a separate post, and everybody comment there, and then I'll go back in after the fact and check out your comments after the fact, after we're done with this. So Wendy says you're commenting. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy. And then I will, after this, I'll go in and read your comments. So, and perfect. Okay, thanks, you guys. I just can't see them. So, but I will go in afterwards and look at all your comments and reply to you guys. So, maybe I'll do a separate video just talking through your comments. So, and you're saying I can see them. I can't see them in my thing. I'm looking. Nope. All I get is notices that you guys are here. But anyways, okay. So I will I'll look at it afterwards. So so let's go through the message paragraph by paragraph and break it down. So here it is. They say and I'm going to just read each paragraph and then we'll talk about each paragraph. They say, we capture the rays of the new beginning like sunlight that dazzles you all, that comes into being and announces itself a new horizon, a new unsettling, renouncing the past undertakings, unsettling your seats of complacency and bringing you to the brink of incorporation back to a known name, to a known center, to a collaborative core of your soul and self. I do love, like in the first paragraph, they're always giving us, like, this is what this message is about. You know, in the first paragraph, it's kind of like this is their hint of this is what we're going to be talking about today. And I love that they start off describing this as we capture the rays. Like, think about that. It's like the dawn, the new rays just coming over the night, right? Like, and how they say that announces itself a new horizon, right? A new unsettling, renouncing the past undertaking. So it's literally like putting to bed the prior day. So if the prior day included the day and the night, when the new rays of the sun of the following day finally are come over the horizon, it puts the previous day to bed, right? It finishes that 24 hours and we start anew. And that's kind of what they're saying here, that this is, and it's a new unsettling, renouncing the past undertakings. So when we put the previous day to bed, we put everything that was happening that day, all of the experiences, all of the memories, all of our ways of being, we're putting those all to bed, right? And creating something new and unknown is kind of the idea here. So I think it's a beautiful metaphor to think about how we are doing this. And then they say, yeah, and then I love the unsettling your seats of complacency to bring you to the brink of incorporation back to a known name. So bringing us back to ourselves, a known name, which is, they say, a known center, to a collaborative core of your soul and self. So it is not only the unity among us, but it is also the connection to us, between us and our soul, right? Our soul and ourselves. So it's unity within ourselves and unity within the whole, within all of us. So it's one paragraph, they lay it out. Again, they usually do this. They give us a preview. This is what we're talking about today. And I think it's a stunning, stunning message. So, okay. And I know that I'm trying to do this here on my phone, and I know the mic is like covering up my whole face, and I'm trying to hold it, doing my best. So it's me and my mic. Hello, Mike. I love you. So it's just really close. Me and my mic are close. So so it's the best I can do. My arms are only so long. Sorry about that, you guys. But all right, next paragraph. All right. So next paragraph, they say, it is an undertaking that you have begun. A time frame is opened. The sensation that you are on the rise is taking hold within you, and you seek to know more about how and when it will pass in these days to come. You seek to know more about where it will form and how it will be known, and how your own experience will change. There is fear yet among yourselves. There is fear that dwells in your heart space, in your awareness, and your dialogue within. So, and this paragraph, I think, is really identifying that we are all watching all of these occurrences very closely. Like we are all very tuned in to what's going on in this shift. And a lot of us are really wondering, especially because some of these changes they're talking about do not sound gentle, right? It sounds like a rough go. And we want to know, like, when is it happening? Like, when is it happening? What is happening? How is it going to affect me? What should I do? That is the question. Like, what should I be doing right now? How do I prepare for this? And that is, I think, what they're trying to address in this message. And I think they're trying to tell us why they're saying they can't really answer that for us very specifically. And the main reason is because we are creating it every single moment. So they're trying to say, hey, we can't give you a great answer because you are the answer. And that's kind of what they get to as we keep going. So they go on to say, and they say, you seek to know more about where it will form and how your experience will change. And then they identify, yes, they understand that we have fear. They go on to say, we say in understanding that you cannot know all that will foretell your future. You cannot know the callings that will meet you there, for you are the instrument by which it arrives, and you have not yet dictated the terms of its experiencing. You will become the forefront of your own experience. You will dictate into knowing what you shall become. You are the creator more than ever before, more than you can currently comprehend. So that to me just lays it out. They're saying the reason they can't tell us what's going to happen for us is because we are more than we ever can understand. Like anything, and that's, I think, why they're saying we have to leave yesterday behind us, because it's not going to be like yesterday. It's going to be different. So we can't use that as a reference point. We have to say that's the way we used to do it, and now we do it differently. And it's a brand new world. And in this brand new world, we create a reality more strongly than we ever have. And they're saying it happens in a moment. Like we are riding, and they keep giving us this visual. We ride on the wave of creation, and then the world rises up to meet us, and we're supposed to see ourselves in that moment and understand and play with that moment in such a way that we see, oh wow, I am doing this and it's creating this experience. I want to change that. So I'm going to make myself be different in this moment, and I'm going to see the next moment rise up to meet me in a new way. So imagine, like, one way to think about this is, imagine if you're in a conversation with someone, and that in that conversation it's not going well, right? And you're finding that that person is angry or frustrated or upset with you. And you see this rising up in the moment. And you're able to take a step back and look at yourself and see what's happening, and understand their feelings in a real pungent way. Like when you see, and if comes with this shift, we're meant to feel each other's feelings in a much more real way. So imagine if that happens. You're feeling their feelings, you're in the moment, you're seeing how they're reacting towards you, and you're able to become self-reflective and say, wow, I understand that the way I'm phrasing this is really hurtful to you. And you're able to then adapt and change and have the conversation differently, right? So imagine how different that feels from how we do it now, which is what we're just kind of bumping up, and all of us are in our own junk, and we're not able to really see each other. We're just seeing through the filter of our own wounding. Right. So we both walk away with hurt feelings, never having really heard the other person at all. Right? That's today. In the future, it'll be this new co-creative, real-time feedback where we perceive each other totally different. And that's what they're trying to get us to open to, right? And it's in every way. Like it's like that with people, but it will be like that with our world, with everything, So, and it's so different from how we are now that we can't use today as a reference point because it won't make sense to us. So, all right, then they go on. Next paragraph, they say, you will feel yourself as one in dialogue with purchase, as though the words of exchange are the currency, and you may take from this world what it offers to yourself, an endowment given in the grace of your birth, as though you may form this world by the very thoughts that arise in your mind, and your heart will feel the interference of no blessings unfound. So I love that they use the metaphor at the beginning of this paragraph is about basically about that our words are powerful, our thoughts create things. And we hear that all the time, right? But here they're referencing it specifically, but they're saying way more powerfully than ever before. Our thoughts create things. Our words are powerful. Our words create. So then they say you feel yourself as one in dialogue with purchase, right? In dialogue, so your dialogue is purchasing. It creates something. It's buying. It's I guess to have purchase is I should have looked up that word because I know it has multiple meanings. Like to purchase something is to buy something, but it also like think about they say that when a seed has purchase, it's like if a seed digs in and creates roots, it takes on something. So your dialogue create to say that it has purchase means that it digs in and creates like a seed that creates in the soil. It creates roots, it grows from it. And I don't have the exact definition, but I know it has those two meanings. And though it's this idea that your words are in the very existence of your words they create. That's the idea. And though the words of as though the words of exchange are the currency, right? So it's like your words become money. Your words become the thing you then are able to transform the world with. Yeah, which are really, really cool way of phrasing it. And then that last part, what they mean by that, where they say your heart will feel the interference of no blessing unfound. So that is that idea that if there is a blessing that is unfound, it means that you're feeling lack. It means that you feel like there's a blessing that you should be finding that you're looking for that you can't find. And so your heart won't feel that way. That's what they're saying. Your heart won't feel like you are missing out on something, that there's a blessing that you're supposed to have that you don't have. You won't have that feeling anymore. That's the idea. All right, next paragraph. They say there will only be the circumstances that surround you in the now. There will only be the circumstances of living in the moment. There, you will feel yourself all right, well taken care of, as though this moment speaks durably into your future, as a foundational prospect that carries you forward from now, into where and what will become. You cannot know. For you are not there yet. You are the instigator, the change maker, the way shower. I love that. They say you can't know what it's going to be because you aren't there yet. Like you are the one that's making it. It's sort of like, well, what is the chef going to create? Well, I don't know because the chef isn't here yet. The chef hasn't like they've got all the tools, they've got all the food, they've got all the recipes. We don't know what they're going to do. We got to wait for the chef, and that's you. It's a super cool way and perspective of seeing the world, and it is so different from how we've been, right? So I like that they say here that it's basically they're really reiterating that it's going to be living in the now, that you will feel yourself all right, you'll be feeling well taken care of, as though this moment, as though the way that you are right now creates a foundation, right? A foundational prospect that carries you forward into the future. So you'll feel safe and secure, even though you will have no idea what tomorrow holds. So you will feel like because you are okay today, you will be okay in the future because everything is being created from you. If you are creating your current moment, then in the next moment, you are only going to get wiser. You are only going to get better. So your next moment will only be better. As long as you continue to learn and grow, then the next moment will improve. If you don't, then you will just get the more of the same. But the today is the foundation, who you are right now, right? So that's kind of the idea that you will feel, even though we won't have this sense of knowing our future, we will have the feeling that we're on a safe foundation because we have this, it's almost like this total steadiness, this sense of total stability, knowing that we are the center of our own world, right? Knowing that it's coming right from us, that we're not the victim of some external force. We're not a leaf blowing in the wind where you feel like you have no center, which is kind of a lot of how people experience life now, is we feel like we're just being tossed around, that life happens to us and we're just, like hits us out of left field. When in this new way of being, we never feel that way. We feel instead that we are the center and the foundation is us. And so every moment we move into the next moment, we are there and we're creating and we have the opportunity to make every day better, right? It's a very, very different perspective of it's empowering, very empowering perspective. Yeah. You are the instigator, the change maker, the way shower. Yeah, so cool. All right, next paragraph. They say, you are the center of this world that you create. Thus, what shall pass in your own dialogue with experience is highly personal to you. You shall make it be into being. You shall create in this world the experience of your own knowing, of what you are feeling, the context that you herald in. So this is I mean, and I feel like this message is more clear than some that we get. Still beautiful in their phrasing, but more clear. And so it's just really, this paragraph is just really telling us that it's going to be super, super individual for each of us. They go on to say, therefore, there will be times coming within which great change is voluble and apparent all around yourself. However, your own experience of living has not changed much. There will be times coming within which you will feel yourself having risen above the forays of this world, as though you exist within a realm adjacent, as though you feel and are aware of what is contemplated in this earth as well, but your own instantiation of existence dwells slightly adjacent to this, as though your world keeps its own tune and memories, as though you may pass unscathed through the fires of fruition. So, boy, this is cool. So they're saying that there will be huge changes on the earth, and we know that they've been telling us all about it, about the craziness that's coming, right? We know about this, that there's gonna be, earth rifts and political divide, and the U.S. may split into more than one country. That there's gonna be major, major, major change happening, and we know this. But they're saying that I like this word here that they used, voluble. They say within which change is voluble. So voluble means two definitions again. Easily rolling, changing, turning is one definition. And then the other meaning is that it's readily flowing speech. Again, another reference to the fact that our words are creative, right? That there will still be that is readily flowing. It's like, but another word for it is glib, if you've ever heard that word. It's like people who just the easy, who had an easy way with words. That change it's just happening all around us so fast. It's just everywhere is kind of the idea. Great change is voluble. So it is happening. There's nothing in the way of great change is what they're saying. And it's also, because the reference to speech here, I'm assuming that is also saying that we are creating great change. And that change is coming from us because we are becoming so different, right? That as we transform, the earth transforms. It's this co-creative process. Yeah. All right. And then they say that at the same time that there's all this change going on, that our own experience is there may be massive, upheaval in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's massive upheaval in your own life, right? That you can, they say, exist in a realm adjacent. So it's like you're in the world, but you're not experiencing the world in the same way, right? As though you feel and are aware of what's contemplated here. So they're saying that as though you're aware of everything. You can still, if you want to, hear the news and you can talk to people and know what's going on for other people. But they're saying your own experience is slightly adjacent to this, as though your world keeps its own tune and memories, as though you may pass unscathed through the fires of fruition. How about that as a visual? So imagine there's chaos in the world, and you can kind of just somehow seem to breeze through it without. It's like things don't. It's like people. There's certain people they call it Teflon. You know what I mean? Imagine like you were just Teflon in the world, and stuff doesn't stick to you in the same way. And that's sort of the idea, that somehow it seems to work out for you, and that comes from being in this new state of being, from being in this space of being where you are experiencing self-love, and that's the key. That's what we're trying to get to. Yeah. And we will have help, right? We have these shifts of energy that are coming to us, but we have to do our part, which is this willingness to see and love ourselves. So they go on, next paragraph. They say, you may wonder how, like, how the heck do I do that? Right? That sounds good. How do I do it? How is this begotten? How is this created from me? It is from the process of living gently, easily, within the context of wherever you become. I love that they say that our first instinct when we say you got to do something is, oh gosh, I got to double down. I got to work hard. I got to put in my 10,000 hours, right? It's effort, force. Like that's how we are taught. when we think, oh, I got to make a big change, that means I got to work harder. And they're saying, no, that's, I think their word choice here is living gently, easily is the idea that they want us to get away from the idea that everything is hard work and get into the space that what we're trying to learn is to embody more of our feminine energy, which means surrender, right? Is to be allowing of who we are, not to try to force and control, which has been our overexpression of our divine masculine energy. We want to bring in our feminine energy, which is to allow ourselves to be, right? To surrender to our truth, to let it rise up, not force it down, not try to squish it down, That's what they're talking about here. Yeah. So living gently, easily, so without resistance. Resistance is our fighting against what is, yeah? Within the context of wherever you become, they say it is from the process of releasing the endowment of shame, guilt, and abhorrence that you came with. It is from the process of receiving into yourself the pure heart of one who is known by their truth. So beautiful. So it really is laying down our wounds. And they have said many, many times that this process is about letting go of our karma and stepping into a more dharmic experience of living, which is what they're trying to describe to us very clearly, I think, very, very specifically. Yeah, laying down our shame, our guilt, our abhorrence. So interesting term there that we came with, right? And receiving into ourself the pure heart of one who is known by their truth. And what I love about that right there is they're saying our truth does not mean we are perfect. Our truth does not mean that we are healed to the point of being so shiny, shiny, shiny that we have no wounds. That you may have some experience in your life that was devastatingly traumatic, that makes you feel all kinds of ungood things about yourself because it happened. Bad things happen to us, and we immediately say, there must be something wrong with me, or, well, why else did that happen? Right? We come to this place of saying somehow we own that wound or that ugliness that happened to us. And what they're saying is that's not true. That your truth, that experience is part of your truth, and it's part of what makes you beautiful. And so they're saying that you can have that experience and still be pure. That you can have the wounds, you can have the ugliness of your life and still be pure. Right? The pure heart doesn't mean that you're unblemished, right? It doesn't mean that you're the virgin bride or groom. It means that you love yourself. It means that you are known by your truth. That's what a pure heart is. A pure heart is one that has nothing hidden. That's a pure heart, right? Where everything's exposed, where nothing is hidden to yourself. Yeah. They go on to say, it is the substance of your own self, of self-love, self-trust. The endowment of your future comes from this, from the space within yourself by which you navigate and instill from within your own heart the prospect of your divinity. So this is big. They're saying that this is the endowment of your future. So this is all the gifts that are coming to us, all the things that we are working toward, all the reason why we're here, right? Is to come into this new space of being. And it is all about self-love and self-trust, trusting our journey, trusting our reason for being here, all of it. And they're saying that is our endowment, that all we got to do is pick it up, right? It's here for us. And they're saying our future comes from it. And they're saying that the space within yourself by which you navigate and instill from within your heart, right? This is the source, the prospect of our divinity. Our divinity comes from this willingness to accept all aspects of ourself. That's how we get it. Yeah. And they go on to say, because all those parts are divine. Like I love, love, love that phrase from last week's message where they said that the more that we callously reject the parts of ourself, when we push those parts of ourselves away, we are pushing away the angels because they are they are us. So if we put parts of ourself away, we're pushing them away too, right? It's beautiful, beautiful phrase. It was, yeah. Anyways, one of those major thoughts that stuck with me from last week's message. All right, so then they go on to say, here it is. We say you cannot know how far you've come or what you've shared thus far with the world. As receptive as this one will become, you cannot know how this world will transform where you are based on what you have known. The foreshadowing does not exist into a future where all things change. No instigation left asunder will begin again in this new time coming. It is all made from the creation point of who you are in that time, in that moment, in that now. A new beginning every second, Every moment you can claim yourself renewed. So this part up here in the beginning is where they're saying that we cannot guess the future based on the past. They're saying the foreshadowing does not exist in a future where all things change. So the foreshadowing would be like, okay, well, last time this happened, this was the result, so that's what I'm going to expect again, right? The last time I applied for a job, I didn't get it, so that's what I'm going to expect again. Or the last time I got into a relationship, that person was unfaithful, so that's what I'm going to expect again. And they're saying, no, the foreshadowing, those past experiences, those past patterns are no longer a predictor of your future. They're saying that we have to let go of all of that and be open and be prepared to receive the world differently. That's a big part about letting down our wounds, right? We learn to protect ourselves. We think, oh gosh, it's going to happen again. I better not trust. I better not try, right? I better not go for that job because I'll be so disappointed, And they're saying, nope, we got to let that down. All those things that were self-protection. So that's the hard part where we have to take the feelings and the woundings and draw them in, love them, and be prepared for the world to be different. And that's hard, I know, because a lot of times we think when we protect ourselves, that's how we don't get hurt. The truth is, all we're doing is creating more of the same. That everything we are in resistance to is what we are creating. It's like you are putting energy into the next person being unfaithful, the next job being rejected, because there's this giant wall inside of us that says, I am afraid of this. And fear is such a strong energy, such a pungent energy, right? So when we are pushing so hard about and I tell you, this was me. Oh gosh, was this me? Because I did not want to be divorced. You know what I mean? When I got married, I'm like, I am not doing that. I was the child of divorced parents. I had basically two sets of parents, and I experienced all the tension and stress that comes from kind of being like, who do you love best? Like that kind of, like it's the difficulties of that, the strain and the pressure of that. And I did not want that from my life at all. And I did not want that so hard that I created it twice. Like I super didn't want that. So I super made it for myself. And yeah, I got divorced 2 times until and then I had my waking up, you know what I mean? Then I woke up and I figured out myself. But the harder we don't want something, the more likely we are going to get it. It seems so unfair, but it's just how it works because we are so powerful and we create through our resistance. So they're saying here that the foreshadowings, we need to get this in our head, that the foreshadowings of the past do not dictate our future any longer if we can just accept and love ourselves. Love the way we felt when it happened the first time. Go back to that first time and go back to how you felt and go back to who you were and how vulnerable you felt and how yucky and miserable and unworthy and all the stuff, and love that. Love that to the point where you don't judge it, right? Where you don't fear it. And then you would interrupt the pattern, and then you don't expect it the next time. You are prepared for it to become different. Yeah. So they're saying that, and that's why they end this paragraph. They're talking about that in every moment you are renewed. It is all made from the creation point of who you are in that time. So we don't have to drudge forward all our old junk. We can leave it, and we can create from right this moment, right now, brand new, from a new version of who you are, leaving behind all those old fears and pains and hardship, right? And create tomorrow, the next exact second. And they're saying it can happen that fast. Amazing. Yeah. They go on to say, you are not fragile. Oof, you are not unsafe, right? You are self, you are soul, you are all knowledge, all beingness. The world conforms to you. How powerful is that? When you trust yourself, trust your soul, what you are made of, the very blanket of divinity rests around you and conforms thus to the body you are made in, to the circumstances of life you've chosen. They're saying, like, if only we could understand how powerful we are, if only we could get it. Like, it's so hard for us. We feel so victimized often by the world. We feel like that leaf blowing in the wind. And they're saying, gosh, if only we could see ourselves the way they see us, like, which is the truth. Like, it's just hard when we're here because we keep experiencing these things, not realizing that we are creating them. Yeah. So it's beautiful. I love that they describe the very blanket of divinity rests around you and conforms thus to the body you are made in. So, and then to the circumstances. So they're drawing a distinction between you and your body and your life, right? They're saying that the blanket of divinity rests around you, your soul, yourself, you, and thus around the body you are made in, right? So it's like, and then they say, and to the circumstances of your life. So everything about you is divine. Yeah, everything. They go on to say, what frames it thus? How does it become so easy? Through the method, the careful dialogue, again, reference to word and the power of our words, the careful dialogue of presence between yourself and what you are holding in depth. Through the careful dialogue of experience, through the willingness to confront, to delve into what you have been through the lens of digestion, to the perspective of one who cherishes all they ever have been, all that ever was in your experience. So, and this, they're saying through the lens of digestion. So that's really like that idea that we're not meant to just see it. We're meant to see it, love it, accept it, draw it into our hearts and free ourselves. That's the meant. We're meant to digest it. So it is not a thing where we're meant to go into our stories and just go into the woe is me. We're not meant to just go into like, why did this happen to me? And tell more stories about why more bad things are going to happen to us. That's not digestion. That's just serving up the same meal over and over again. They want us to process it, right? To get what the nutrients are out of it. That's what you do when you digest stuff. You take out the good stuff and you get rid of the bad stuff. And then they say to the goal, right? To the perspective. In other words, the goal of this is to be one who cherishes all they have ever been, all that ever was your experience, to cherish all of it. And you guys know this is the work of soul convergence that we offer. This is trauma healing. This is deep trauma healing. And I don't current soul convergence is not currently open, but it will be. I think in mid-June it'll be open again. So if you missed it and you want to be part of this, because we are understanding as they're telling us more and more how critical it is as part of this process to step into this new adjacent way of being, how important it is for us to be healing at this level. I'll be letting you guys know, but put it on your calendar for mid-June if you would like to be part of it then. And then I'll keep you guys posted. All right. And for those of you who did, anyways, I'll talk more about that later, but those of you who did Soul Convergence 2 and would like to do Soul Convergence 1, that's what we'll be starting with in June, is Soul Convergence 1. There's 2. I didn't know this when we started it, by the way, but there's 2 Soul Convergences. There's 1 and 2. And 1 is healing from it's healing the masculine and feminine from the masculine perspective. 2 is healing the masculine and feminine from the feminine perspective. I just didn't understand that when we got started. I didn't know it until we were halfway through. So yeah. So anyways, but mid-June, mark your calendars. All right, you guys, let's keep going. They say there is the dynamic between yourself and all things of exchange that you have known, and this dialogue has been constrained. So this is really talking about like, yeah, we've always been creators, right? We know that, but we have not been very good at it. It's always been constrained. It has been a method by which you have experienced life as something external to you, as something difficult, a hardship, a burden to make through, a suffering encampment where you have been laid and must make do until your time is over. Oh man, they do not mince words on this one. They're kind of letting us have it. At least that's how I see it, is they're just calling it like it is, and they're saying that we see it, and the major cause of our stress, they're saying, is because we see it as something outside of ourselves. We see the world as being something external to who we are, rather than understanding that we are the center of our experience and we create it moment by moment. And that is the massive shift. When they say the dialogue must change, that is what they're talking about, that we have to change our way of understanding our world and start embodying this new way of being, and understanding that we need to start being super present in the moment, listening to our heart in the moment, feeling, are we happy? How do we feel in this moment? Like some days you're just going to be tired, and that's a thing. But do you feel anxious, angry, frustrated, dissatisfied, crabby, and why? And then looking in your reality and trying to work with it in the moment, right? And trying to make adjustments in the moment rather than just living through it unconsciously and taking it out on the poor cashier at Starbucks. Yeah. So So then they go on to say, I love how they say that a burden to make through, a suffering encampment, almost like we were all some sort of refugees left here, like abandoned on earth, like waiting it out until we can finally die and get to the other side. Like that's kind of how they describe it. I mean, they're not mincing any words. Yeah. They go on to say, and we say, you have seldom been met. Whew, in contrast to the last paragraph, right? When we see it as like a refugee camp, or we're just stuck here on earth in this like terrible place where bad things happen. And they're saying, in contrast, next paragraph, and we say, you have seldom been met with greater prospect than this life you are enduring. Right? We think of it as we have to endure it. And they're like, they say you've seldom been met with greater beautiful things than you are right now. Like right now, you are in the middle of one of the most amazing experiences you could possibly have. Right. And we see it as the suffering encampment, right, that we are enduring. They go on to say, you have seldom been met with more opportunity than that which lies at your feet in this moment. The care and the comfort of your life is waiting for you. It's nearby, yes, adjacent to this existence within which all things are felt as suffering. It is adjacent within the knowledge of your soul as present, abounding with the all and the every within it, as though you are this moment in its entirety and can choose for yourself what to extinguish and what to carry forward, as though all that is instigated in this time is by choice and surrender to your own soul. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So they're really trying to help us understand how critical this change of perspective is and how unnatural it is to us. So we have to really be conscious of it and do it by choice. Yeah. They go on to say, it is not a process by which you create, not a dialogue which you are accustomed to, not through the process of forcing, not through the process of creating by instinct. So they're saying that all the ways we are used to creating, that we've been using in the past, that's not how we do it. It's not through the process of planning things out to the nth degree. Like that's kind of how a lot of us handle things. When we're facing something we don't know what it is, we will do all of our research and we will plan and we will make a map. I remember, oh my gosh, when I was in college, I lived in France for a year when I was in college. I went to school over there for a year. And one of my friends was the most incredible planner I have ever met in my life. And there's two friends with three of us. We were like the little three musketeers, and we traveled all over the place and did all kinds of fun stuff together. But one of the stresses we had as a trio was that I tend to be a bit more spontaneous. And my friend was like I said, she would have her list, and she would have so much on the list for every day that we would get to a place that we wanted to see, and immediately she was trying to rush us to go to the next place that was on her list, and it was this feeling of like, we have to hurry up and see every single thing in France today. And we would, anyways, it was this conflict we had, and it led to actually to a big falling out. Like, we are not friends today. Like, I'm welcome to be friends again, but at the time it was a conflict that we could not overcome. You know what I mean? Like, she couldn't forgive me for not being excited about that way of travel. She was not happy with me. So in any case, but that's the idea, is I think that is how we plan our lives, how we live our lives, is we come across something we don't know how to do, and so we try to figure it out before we start, and we lay plans, and we stress a lot, and we try to anticipate. And they're saying that's not the way to do it anymore, that is not helpful to us. It burns a bunch of cycles and it does no good, because they're saying that we can't anticipate it, that there is no foreshadowing, right? We can't look at the past and use it to anticipate the future, because the future, we are creating it in the moment, right? And we are different right now than we were before. So our futures, we're working with different materials. So it's a totally different perspective. Yeah. And so they're saying that we cannot force it, right? We cannot, not through the process of creating by instinct. So even like if we have been very doing things with our eyes closed, like going, it's sort of like that thing, like I think about it, like when you drive home and you get there and you don't even realize how you got there because you were driving by instinct. And they're saying that way of being kind of half asleep and just kind of doing things the way you've always done it, that won't work either. So it has to be, we have to be conscious, present, really interacting with our world in order for this to work. of drawing down and into you the full flavor of your relationship to divinity and allowing yourself to settle your feelings within this dialogue of self and all things, to feel you are in presence, in experience, in tenderness, relinquishing your desire to manage, to be in opposition to what is now occurring. So it's really that laying down our desire to control and willingness to be in flow. Yeah. So then they go on to say, and I highlighted this paragraph that, because I feel like this is it in a nutshell. They say, feel yourself not in resistance to the now. Feel yourself in flowing endeavor. Experience how you are being revealed in this moment. Be in dialogue of trusting your experience. Know it comes forward to you so that you may relinquish some aspect of hardship which you have endured far too long. We say this dialogue must shift, must transfer into the new age of your own well-being. So that is the idea, to see every moment that rises as a beautiful thing, that we trust the moment. We trust what's happening because it is showing us ourselves, right? We lean into every moment and see it as self-discovery. So very, very different experience from what we are used to encountering our life. Next paragraph, they say, to become adjacent to the stirrings. So how do we do this process of moving where we live kind of next to the world as opposed to really enmeshed in it? They say the strange, and how do we move next to it? The strange and unsettling experiences of living at the hand of the external, as though this governs this world and you are simply in it. Not you, not for you. No, indeed. This is not how the new wave begins. It starts within the heart of what and who you are becoming. The self, the soul, the dialogue in truth speaks to you that you are this world and it moves through you. You must lie down your torment and your grief and find solace in the concept of yourself as all things. As knowing your truth begins now in this sphere, in this moment, in this interaction and dialogue, you are here. So two big words here that really jump out at me. And the first one is this idea here where they say that, where is it? I lost it. Um, like two big things. I don't know what they are. The first one is, and find solace in the concept of yourself as all things. So think about that as an idea, that you can think of yourself as being all things, and that might feel overwhelming or scary. So they're really identifying that we have to find a way to find solace in that idea. And it is an idea of taking back your power. We hear that phrase all the time in our circles, right? Oh, take back your power. But it is that idea in a big way. It is the idea that you are meant to be able to see that because of the fact that you are the nexus of everything, that you are the center of your group, of your world, that it has to come from you and you have to trust yourself, right? Trust who you are becoming in every moment. So it really is a thing where when we are responsible for everything, that sounds great unless we don't like the way things are. And then it feels a lot better to say that somebody else did it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it feels easier to be like, yeah, well, somebody else did this to me. It's not me. And we have to find comfort in the recognition that it is us, that it means that we have the ability to change it, that we're not the leaf blowing in the wind. And that is our solace, that it is ours. And we have in every moment the possibility of letting go of that experience and making the world different for us. And so we have to find that as a positive thing. And that means taking on the willingness to be responsible for our lives and for how things occur, and to see that as a good thing, not a bad thing, and this is working through some deep layers of ourselves, because you may say, no, I totally am responsible for my life. I have no problem with that. Somewhere deep down, there's some place where sometimes it feels way better to be like, yeah, I'm the reason I'm in a bad mood is that person's fault. You know what I mean? It's not because I'm working through something. It's because that person didn't unload the dishwasher. That's why I'm crabby. And yeah, the other thing that really jumps out at me here, there was another one, is knowing your truth begins in this sphere, in this moment. And what was it? This, where there was another thing I wanted to bring up in here. grief and solace and the concept of yourself as all things is knowing your truth begins now, in this sphere, in this moment, in this interaction dialogue here. Knowing your truth begins now. I don't know what else there was I was going to tell you. It was something really so profound. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Maybe that was it. Maybe that's all it was. All right, let's move on. All right, next paragraph. Your presence announces itself as one who is giddy in the experience of living, right? I love that. Like that is that wonder, that childlike experience of life, that it is something that, we're meant to be joyful, that it's not supposed to be so serious all the time. I would tell you my first experiences of seeing Yeshua in my meditations, first times he appeared to me, he was a goofball. Like he does this funny dance when he celebrates. He's not serious. He's super funny. And we think of it as like, oh, it must be super serious all the time. And like the angels have a great sense of humor. They're fun. They're very literal, but they're funny, and it's meant to be like this giddy experience of living. It's meant to be joyful. Like, wow, look at how beautiful it is today. It's pouring rain, but wow, the colors are so much more intense when it's raining. Like how can we have that childlike wonder in our life and see everything as a blessing? Yeah, that the presence, your presence, right? Your consciousness, right? If we're really engaging in life with that freshness, we see the beauty in it. And then we have that giddy experience of life, right? As one who finds life not a torment, but a blessing, right? The dignity of your grace is expressed even in the moments of greatest quiet and reflection, where you find your stillness, you find your hardship, you find your tears and suffering. And in these moments, you are brought to terms with what must be accepted and drawn into your heart for the pleasure of commencing a relationship to your truth. And yes, I did highlight this one as a quote to share with you guys because I think that is absolutely beautiful. That it is bringing those things into your heart for the pleasure of commencing a relationship to your truth, right? It is saying that you are worth knowing. You know what I mean? That all those parts of yourself that you would rather not see, you are worth knowing. So beautiful. Next paragraph. The knowingness of your own wounding draws you closer to a life that is freed of the friction that has disturbed your countenance and created hardship for many. Your blessings are within reach. Your days are flowing more easily, and they come to fruition in a time of our speaking to you. They come to term. They come this fast, this easy, as though a breath is made and felt immediately in the circumstances you meet. So, in other words, that's how fast you can change. Like, boom, that fast, as this message has been. Like, this has been, I know it's a long message, but an hour, like that's how fast you can change. You can go through a process of self-reflection and be different an hour from now. And they're saying it's that quick, right? And it draws you closer to a life that's freed of friction. So the free of friction, that's that non-karmic, that dharmic experience that we're trying to move to. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to become. They go on to say, it is that freeing, that fleeting, moment by moment, it is extinguished and renewed again and again. You are remade, the new you, never extinguished, always renewing. You are endlessly possible and positive in this world. We say blessings are upon you. What a gorgeous message. And I love that they end with that as we accept all parts of ourselves, we acknowledge that we are a blessing in the world, right? That's what we are. That's what we're meant to be, even with all of our yucky stuff, like even with the things that we don't like about ourselves, that we can look at that and recognize that comes from something inside of us, that comes from an experience we've had, that comes from a truth about us that makes us deeper and richer as people. And so even those hardest things are super lovable, that they make us more, what would you say? More complicated and more interesting and more diverse, and our experience, we have contrast among us, and that makes us fascinating. So yeah. So anyways, super, super beautiful message, you guys. I loved it. I hope you guys loved it too. Thank you guys so much for putting up with my tech issues today. I'm sending you guys tons of love. Send us good wishes for our retreat this weekend. And I will be seeing you guys next Friday live. Bye, you guys. See you then.